Wow, that's loud. Okay, so I'm going to do a questionnaire that someone made up years ago, Lane 777 in 2008, and I'm quite tired and I've got to be up in a few hours, so I'm not overly excited at the moment. I'm not. I think I've chilled out quite a lot in my middle age, and I'm not. I can get excited, but I'm not overly excited often. So anyway, let's do this. So if you had the opportunity to change your type, to which would you change it and why? That's probably ESTJ or ENTJ, because they effortlessly seem to be in the driving seat of their own goals, just seem to be able to do things really easily. It just kind of rolls off. Okay, next one. Do you feel misunderstood? Yes. Not always. Some people really get me. Other times I feel like I'm perceived as being this, I don't know, depth is quite important to me. So when I feel like I'm being perceived as, kind of pop girl, sort of into popular culture, and I don't know, a lot of people seem to think that I like the Spice Girls of Girls Aloud, and I don't know, like things like that really offend me. Do first impressions go well for you? I'm not really sure what that's asking, which way around it is. I'm not really sure on the answer either. I'll move on. What quality should a best friend possess? Well, I think all relationships are about give and take. Maybe not in the moment, but I think that relationships are based on a mutual. They're transactions, and there's love which can't be described involved in that as well. It's hard to say best friend. I mean, I have someone who I think has been the best friend that I've ever known, but I'm not really that besties, let's squeal when we see each other kind of person. Do you get along easily with others? Some. Interestingly, someone seems to think that I appease others. I don't think I do from my own perspective. I think I'm actually probably one of the more challenging ENFPs, or if I am actually an ENFP, because this is weird. I hardly ever get texts. It's normally like Pizza Hut or something. Anyway, next one. What do you appreciate most about the opposite gender? Oh, that's getting into gender stereotyping. Not going to go there. What are the simple pleasures you enjoy in life? I like things like, I like having get-togethers with loved ones and kind of small intimate circles, and I love the whole kind of everyone getting together with music and guitars and having a sing-song. I don't do it very often anymore, but it's the kind of thing that I really appreciate. What do you hate and love most about this world? Oh God, okay. That could be really long. I once said when I was really young, and at the time I wasn't really aware of the sort of how profound it was. It seemed to kind of roll off my tongue. So what I said was, and I was really young, I was about 15. Maybe that's really not young to most of you guys, but I think it was something along the lines of chaos and destruction. And I think I said I really love positive creation. and positive destruction. And then there was something along the theme of chaos. Oh, I forget now. Anyway, what are you impassioned for? All things that I've probably spoken a lot about on here. You know, and I can be quite contradictory as well. So let me think about this. What am I impassioned for? It's a bit of an oddly phrased question. What I'd say, what am I impassioned about, or what makes me impassioned, or something. There's a lot of things. You know, my ideals are very much along the lines of, and I know that it's a kind of a, you know, like a utopia that is something that couldn't really, I like to believe in it, but there is a cynical part of my mind that wrestles with the optimistic part of my mind, about the idea that everyone should be entitled to a plot of land and food and, you know, to be able to self-sustain. At the same time, I also believe, so that's a kind of a socialist, idealistic socialist element, but at the same time I also believe that we should take care of the weak or less able in mainstream views or societies. So there's that kind of individualistic thing there as well, and I believe individuality is really important, and that we should allow people to go with their strengths instead of criticising their weaknesses. Okay. What do you think about most often? I don't know, too many things. What emotion do you experience most often? I don't know. I think I'm someone who I have a lot of love. I'm really not a hippie, but that makes me sound like a hippie. What's your primary love language? I don't know. All of them. I'm definitely an optimist. Do I feel alone? Well, you know, I think it's not so much now. I'm not amazingly good at being alone for extended periods of time, but I do like to be alone sometimes. Do I feel alone? Sometimes. What is the meaning of life? Another big question. That I think things like that deserve a whole video of themselves, and probably in a discussion with someone else, because even one discussion can take you in many different directions. Am I afraid to die? No, not really. I'm afraid to be in pain or die slowly, painfully, but I'm not afraid of death itself. I've been pretty close, and it was quite peaceful, so I'm alright with that. Is there anything after death? Well, who knows? Maybe life is just a, you know, part of a, well, it is a state of being, but the possibilities are so vast that I'm hesitant to put forth any ideas. Again, that's something that I could talk about for quite a while, and I think that's the end of the questions. And I don't know, there was these really cool filters, and I chose one, and now I'm kind of stuck with it. So the reason I actually made this, I don't know if I said it at the beginning, but the reason I actually made this was because there seems to be a lot of fluffiness and, look at me, I'm an ENFP, sort of stuff going around, which is like really not where I'm at. And I don't know how many people relate to the more kind of serious side of it. I can be incredibly playful, and I like to play with words, and I like to play with ideas, and conversations and people and all sorts of things. But I think for me, where what I believe to be my NE and where I believe that is active is when I'm in conversations and it leads me into kind of concepts and directions and connections and things like that, rather than just, oh, I'm so wacky sort of thing, you know? So yeah, maybe I'm just a really fucking boring ENFP. Maybe I'm not an ENFP at all. But yeah, maybe say what you think. Thanks.